So, today I thought that we would try something different, obviously. This is my sister, Martha. I've mentioned her before, but this is the official Martha face reveal. So, we really enjoy So Bad It's Good media, and a great genre of So Bad It's Good media is poorly written young adult fiction. And what's better than poorly written young adult fiction, except poorly written young adult fiction written by actual young adults and self-published on the internet without any editing. So, my favorite place to find such literary works are the website Wattpad. Martha, could you give us a definition of what Wattpad is?
Wattpad is a website where any old idiot can post whatever they want.
Yeah, so Wattpad is mostly populated, I would say, by like the young teenage girl demographic, which there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's kind of awesome.
Yeah.
But you get a lot of like bad fan fiction, but also plenty of original fiction. And we want to share one of those works of original fiction with you today.
I also don't mean to say that everyone that publishes something on Wattpad is an idiot.
Yeah, I've heard that there's like good stuff on Wattpad.
Also, like, if you're a teenage girl and you write or read fan fiction, you're not an idiot. You're just normal.
I actually have a couple of physical Wattpad books. They're all pretty bad, but anyways. So, one thing that happens occasionally on Wattpad is that the books will gain so much popularity that, like, they'll get traditionally published. That's happened with, like, The Kissing Booth, After, My Life with the Walter Boys, some popular examples. Sometimes they even get film adaptations. So we want to share with you today an incredible book by the name of The Bad Boy and the Tomboy. I think we first discovered this because at the beginning of last year we actually wanted to start like a Wattpad book club with our cousins. We wanted to find a really dumb, funny book. And this book was actually so bad that we had to stop reading it because we weren't enjoying it. But during quarantine, I've picked it back up, and it turns out it's actually a masterpiece of comedy. The thing about this book, we actually were reading this pretty recently, but the thing about it is I have a couple of surprises for you. I have a couple plot twists in the story of this book. Surprise number one is that, so recently on Wattpad, like in the last year or two, they've started implementing this thing called paid stories, which are what they sound like. It's like suddenly authors are able to monetize their works, which is good.
A story that you pay for.
Paid story.
Paid stories.
Yes, makes sense. So the vast majority of content on Wattpad is free, but there are now some higher quality books that are paid for. So you either have to buy, I think, a Wattpad premium account, or like buy these coins like Wattpad currency real money.
How much is a Wattpad premium account?
That's a good question. Let's look it up. I did see...
And are there any other perks like you could get? Okay.
It's probably ad-free, I would guess. No ads. Unlimited offline stories, so I guess you can download them. Your Wattpad coins go further. I guess you get bonus coins. Exclusive theme colors. Wow, I really care about that. Anyways, so Premium Plus is $9.99 a month. Which is like, that's Netflix is cheaper than that.
I definitely pay less for Hulu.
Yeah.
With ads, but
true.
I don't have a job right now.
We don't pay anything for Tubi, and we can watch as much Dance Moms as we want on Tubi. Well, the regular one is $5.99 a month. Anyways, so basically Wattpad has recently implemented the paid story. The last time I accessed this book was only a few months ago. So imagine my surprise when the other day I open the Wattpad app, I go to my library to find The Bad Boy and the Tomboy. First of all, they have slightly changed its cover design, and then I click on it. It is now a paid story.
Wow.
I can no longer... So apparently there are 14 free parts, which is a lot of parts, but considering that the full work is like 70 chapters, that only gets you so far.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Are they making it into a movie?
Well, let me read the disclaimer for you. This is surprise number 2. That was kind of the bad news. Here's the good news. So, first of all, okay, this disclaimer is really funny because the author basically admits that she wrote it when she was 14 and she doesn't think it's good. Here we go. The Bad Boy and the Tomboy, disclaimer. This is the first draft of The Bad Boy and the Tomboy. The published version will be released for bookstores and on here as a paid story on October 13th, 2020.
Wow.
So she's getting
Good
published.
for her, honestly.
I know. And, okay, first of all, we should clarify that the Bad Boy and the Tomboy, at least the last time I saw, like, when it was not a paid story, had, like, hundreds of millions of reads, like, one of the most popular stories on the website. So she really deserves it. Anyways, in addition, this story, the first draft edition, will be a paid story as of July 15th, 2020. I wrote this story when I was 14. At 14, I didn't have a good mindset of what a good plot was, good grammar, nor did I know how to make many characters. The context of this story, in a weird way, is something I'm proud of. Okay. However, there are plot holes throughout this story in addition to lengthy, unrealistic explanations, satirical humor in events, and everything and anything dramatic has been tossed into this book and its universe. In addition, there are misogynistic views in this story that I do not agree with whatsoever. If you don't like it due to the reasons I've stated above, don't read the story. I'm not forcing you. If you don't wish to read this story but want to know what has occurred to have a better understanding of the other books in the universe, she wrote sequels, I guess, then ask one of the readers for a quick summary through DM and move ahead. That's kind of weird. She's like, if you want to know the summary,
she's like,
I'm not writing one.
Wait,
ask somebody.
What do you think the other books in the universe are called?
Well, I think she lists them afterwards, so let's get there. This was the first story I've written and completed. There are numerous grammar errors and moments where you will cringe. I mean it. Your toes will curl at what some of the characters say, but it is dramatic as a 14-year-old's perspective of the world may seem. You may not agree with some of the characters' views, but that's fine. Character development exists for some of them, but for others, not so much. Speaking from personal experience, hating and loving a character makes things very interesting. Okay. If you continue to read this story, I warned you, and I hope you learn something from it. It's kind of a roller coaster. So here it says...
How old is she now? Because this sounds
That's
very
a good
much
question.
like her... It doesn't sound that different from
I
her.
know. For some reason, I feel like the book is from 2014, but I don't know where I'm getting that figure. Like, I feel like...
2014. Okay. I was just thinking you were just putting the number 14
no,
into it.
well, also, like, in the story she referenced... Sometimes there are very dated references, just in the sense
what
that...
What was happening in 2014?
Well, do you remember, I think they talk about, like, the iPhone 5C, which I used to have, which that would have been around 2014. So, assuming that's the truth, then she might be my age. So here are the sequels. All except for the sequel, 68 Days and Counting, can be read as standalones. So, Book 1, The Bad Boy and the Tomboy, from the perspective of Macy Anderson. Book 2, 68 Days and Counting, sequel to The Bad Boy and the Tomboy.
68 Days and Counting.
What do you think that means?
Specific.
Yeah, like...
Does it all take place in one single day?
Or I wonder if it's like, she's been in a relationship with the guy for 68 days, and it's just like...
Oh, yeah.
Spin-offs. Book 3, The Artist and the Dancer, from the perspective of...
The art boy and the dance
boy.
boy.
From the perspective of Sydney Acosta, who I can't remember if that's a character in the book or not. Book 4, Everything Happens at 2:04 a.m. Everything boy happens boy at 2:04 a.m. boy. From the perspective of Octavia Okanji.
Spencer? It's just an Octavia Spencer fanfic.
Oh my god, I would love that. Other works by Nikki 20038. That's the Wattpad name of this author, by the way.
Nicki Minaj?
Nicki Minaj.
I don't think so, because, okay, so her Wattpad name is Nikki 20038, but if you look at the cover, the newly revised cover, it says Nicole Nwozu. Let's get into it. Okay. Part 1. Keep in mind, the chapter names for this book are insane. So chapter 1 is called May His Soul Be Cast Forever in Davy Jones's Locker. Now, also, I tend to think that the first line of a novel is, like, very important to the story. It's very... It can be an opportunity for, like, a lot of meaning.
A man in want of a... What is the first line of Pride and Prejudice? A gentleman... Something
I haven't read it.
Must be in want of a wife.
Right. Or,
it tells you what the book is about.
Call Me Ishmael tells you something.
Or, in the beginning, there was the word. Bible?
Haven't read it. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. You know,
or Oliver Twist walked lightly down the lane.
Is that what the first line is? Or wasn't it?
No.
The first line of a book, I would say, can be very meaningful. Here's this one. I watched my two best friends eat the living hell out of 2 hot dogs on their plates. Eat the living hell out of the hot dogs on their plates. I was holding the video camera in my hand, recording every shot as Andrew was getting smoked by Jasmine. So we already have 2 characters. With one more hot dog in her hand, she was beating him by 2 as she stuffed the last hot dog into her mouth, finishing it in 3 bites. Wow. I win. In your face, Dee Dee, my best friend said, her mouth still full. He wiped the spit off his face and grimaced. Okay. Even though you won, it just proves that you can eat like a lion.
Wait, okay, his nickname is Dee Dee, but his name's Andrew.
Yeah, how did that...
Is it Dee Dee for Drew?
Maybe.
Drew looks
at me. So, first impressions?
First impressions, I would say it's really, really strong when you can start your story, like...
In
just
media
with
race like that, in the middle of the action.
Yeah, and like with very visceral descriptions.
Yeah, definitely. What do we think she is trying to say with these, like,
I would
graphic...
say it's like introducing you to, like, this book is going to be like a sensory experience. Like,
Very
this
much.
book is going to, like, shock you, all of your senses, not only, like, touch, but also taste and smell and sight.
And sight and...
What is the other one?
Did we say sight yet? Jasmine rolled her eyes at him, swallowing her food. Shut up. Andrew smirked at her. You know what they say. You are what you eat. Jasmine looked pissed, so she's a hot dog. Jasmine looked pissed off now. Smooth coming from... I cut off the rest of the conversation as I clicked the stop button and retired to my couch. I don't think that would have cut off the conversation. As I clicked the stop button and retired to my couch in the living room. Spreading out on the comfy seat, I looked over the hot dog eating contest and laughed at my friends' faces. Oh, okay, so she's, like, watching the video over. Jasmine was the immature one of our trio. She seemed to be the silliest of the bunch, but everyone knew not to get on her bad side. Her bad side proved that she was a lion, but she was also the girl I'd known since 3rd grade that shared her lunch with me. I still didn't think she'd changed. Some racist girls at our school made fun of Jasmine's friendship with me. Just because she was black didn't change anything about her being my best friend. Yeah, I would think
hope
it would.
so. It's like a pretty low bar. It's like,
yeah,
oh, actually...
just because she's black does not mean I don't think of her as a human being. Andrew just said that they were jealous that she was rich, pretty, and kind. It was true, ... until she turned into the spawn of Satan. Okay. Andrew was a totally different matter. While all of us occasionally got good grades, he was the serious one of the bunch, but the jokester in a way, too. Okay, so he's nothing. He has no personality. He was also known as a ladies' man, as one of those sensitive, I listen and understand kind of guys. I called it garbage. Why? I didn't know how he did that, truly, as the girls at our school would complain if someone touched their handbags. There is a lot of not like other girls in this book.
Wait, what? What does that...
Girls at our school would complain if someone touched their handbags.
If someone touched their handbag.
Yeah.
Like, and they didn't want them to.
Uh-huh.
And so that means that they like sensitive boys? That makes sense.
But... whatever. But he was known for his good looks, blonde hair and blue eyes, and that dimple on his left cheek that drove the girls crazy.
Okay, who are we picturing this role?
Oh my god, we have to fan cast
like,
it. Okay, Jasmine.
I would say, at the time it came out, maybe he was modeled after Josh Hutcherson.
I think she does eventually fan cast it, so we can see what it is then.
But I could also see, like, Niall Horan. I'm just trying to think of, like, blonde boys,
blue-eyed
heartthrob boys.
All the teen actors I feel like I know right now are from 13 Reasons Why. Are there any blonde boys on 13 Reasons Why?
Alex in the first season.
Yeah.
He is a sensitive boy.
He is a very gay, sensitive boy. Yeah, Niall Horan. I think we should keep Niall Horan as Andrew for right now. Is he Irish?
Yes.
I don't know that I...
Yes,
I've committed to it. Okay. When I walked down the hallway, most girls stared at me as if to say, "How are you not attracted to him?"
Okay, what does that look like?
Well, see, it says, I had to answer with an eye roll. So they stare at her
yeah,
like...
let's act it out. Okay, so you be her.
Okay.
And I'll be the girls.
Okay, so I'm walking down the hallway.
And I'm like...
And I just roll my eyes. That's pretty good. Okay. None of these girls had seen him burp, fart, or stick his BO in your face. Is that what they do when they hang out? Like every guy, he had that disgusting side of him.
Like every guy.
I didn't have the looks of a teenage Megan Fox, nor the attitude of a sweet little girl. Andrew described me as deadly when you got to know me. To the outside world, people saw me as shy and quiet. But Jasmine would give them the, "Are you crazy?" look, because I could be ... loud? Depending on which, it's loud, ? Depending on which soccer or basketball team was playing. Okay. But I was quiet when I was in my room curled up with a good book, or when I first...
She's like... Well, probably you're quiet in that situation.
Yeah, like, why would you be talking while you're alone?
Book, like...
Or when I first talked to new people that intimidated me. In short, I was just plain. The girl with long hair that needed to be cut and layered, and had no fashion sense and didn't like hanging out with girls. To me, they were always complaining and couldn't stop talking about gossip.
And their handbags.
Jasmine was the only one I stuck to because she wasn't like that. When I found that out, I looked towards the heavens and yelled, "Thank you, God!" That resulted in every girl... Wait, that resulted in every girl in the quad staring at me like I was mental, but it was totally worth it. So wait a minute. She wasn't just saying that like a figure of speech, like, oh, I was like, thank God. She literally stopped, raised her head, looked towards the heavens, and yelled, "Thank you, God!"
And what was she reacting to? Just finding
out that Jasmine wasn't like other girls.
So, like, how did she find out?
Yeah,
because it sounds like it happened in one moment.
Maybe somebody just told her. Like, you know, Jasmine isn't like the other girls.
She's like,
"Thank you, God!"
It just seems like when you make a friend, like, you gradually get to know them and, like, share bonding experience.
It's not like you would think they're like other girls and then find out they're not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless you have your own issues, which...
Macy might, from the sounds of it. "Look what you did," Jasmine yelled. "You totally pushed our best friend out of the conversation." I heard Andrew scoff. "I did? You're the one that can't stop talking all the time. Oh my God, Andrew, get a life, get a haircut, get a job, and stop borrowing my money." Wow, she got out like all of her dirty laundry with Andrew at one time. Both of them came into view beside the couch, and I turned my body, propping up an elbow to watch the show. "You expect me to actually want to help you? Charity case?" Oh my God. "Get your girlfriend to pay for your dinner next time. Or better yet, let her see the light and dump you." Okay. This is like Andrew was like playfully teasing her and she's like, "Okay, Andrew, well, why don't you get a job, stop borrowing my money?" This is
also just not a good look for like a rich person to be like,
"Oh, okay, little poor little boy, you." Yeah. Andrew growled. He's like, "Ugh."
That's kind of a like YA thing.
That's
though.
A bad YA writing thing, growling. "Oh yeah? And where's your boyfriend?" "Right, he's probably at his new girlfriend's place because he realized how much of a stuck-up snob you can be." Jasmine shrunk back and turned on her heel. Andrew and I watched her go upstairs, and the sound of a door slamming closed was heard. One of the worst uses of the passive voice I've heard. I mean, one of the worst uses of the passive voice that has been heard by me.
Yeah.
I sighed. Jasmine was going through a tough time since her boyfriend Sean had dumped her for one of her friends from the softball team a few weeks ago. She had shown up at my house in sweats, something she normally never left the house in, and had wallowed in ice cream and chick flicks. That's just become such a cliche. Like, does anybody, like, get a pint of ice? Well, okay. I sat up from the couch as Andrew took a seat beside me, his hands on his face. You shouldn't have said that. Andrew moved his hands downward so his face stretched in the direction of his lap.
Yeah, he's doing one of the...
"I know, I'll go talk to her. In the meantime, what are you going to do with that video?" "You'll never know, just like you never do," I told him. It's pretty cryptic. I told him, hitting him on the arm. Andrew got up, rubbing his now wounded arm, and ran upstairs. I grabbed my laptop from under the couch and put it on my lap, opening it to its screensaver of Josh Hutcherson. 2014 Wattpad, love Josh Hutcherson.
But we talked about this, but I do not think he is hot.
In the
comments, say if you think Josh Hutcherson is hot or not.
Okay.
Are you gonna leave it in?
Yeah. I paused a moment to bask in his glory, then went to my videos.
That's
She's
me
like,
every time I open my...
Every time you open your computer wallpaper of Harry Styles.
I'm just like, Baskin. Carol Baskin.
Bask in his glory, then went to my videos. After I entered the password, what do you think her password is? I love Josh Hutcherson
forever.
Josh Hutcherson forever. I hooked up the SD card from my camera to my laptop and stored the video in there. This is, okay, one of my, like, favorite weird specific things about bad YA fiction is you often, or, like, especially, like, amateur Wattpad fiction, is you often see people, like, just explain things to a degree that they don't need to. Like, I took the thing off the table and took it over to the other side of the room and sat down in front of my computer. Like, we don't need to hear that. You can just say I sat down in front of my computer. Anyways, after closing my laptop, I put the SD card back in the camera, smiled, and kissed it. This camera was my life. Yeah, it's like, she really cares about that SD card. This camera was my life. It was filled with my memories from back in 10th grade. I had been attached to photography ever since I got my first camera from my dad when I was 5. It was a real camera, but my dad put this case around it that didn't let it break when I would clumsily dropped it, ... all the time. Ever since then, he had gotten me a new camera every 2 years, and this year I was hoping for the best camera on the market. Damn. The only time I'd ever seen one was on a trip to Japan with my dad and on a New York trip back in my sophomore year. Okay, I think we can safely assume, like, she's kind of wealthy.
Yeah.
New camera every 2 years. I didn't even know what it was called, but I didn't care. It was all I envisioned in my brain. A door opening broke my train of thought. I'm back. I rolled my eyes. Don't care. My 14-year-old brother, Justin, came into view. Justin has to be played by Justin from 13 Reasons Why. Brandon Flynn. He's supposed to be 14, and Brandon Flynn is probably like 27. But hey, that's Hollywood, you know?
And I bet he walks in and he's like, you know, he's how like, Justin's always like...
He's like, how can I help you today?
How can I help you today?
He was caked with sweat. How can you be caked with sweat? That's disgusting. And his bottom lip was formed in a pout. That is so Justin. Come on, sis. What would you say if I had died, huh? I would just shrug, take your Xbox, and put on your gravestone. Here lies a 14-year-old peasant. He was dirty, sweaty, and extremely annoying to his sister. May his soul be cast forever in Davy Jones's locker.
Name of the chapter!
Excellent callback to the chapter name.
Cheers.
Chapter name. Justin ran a hand through his brown hair. It is Justin. I can tell by your eyes that you are lying. Your sarcasm never fails to amuse me, especially when you use a SpongeBob reference. Was the Davy Jones's Locker thing a SpongeBob reference? I thought that was just a maritime...
And we laughed really hard at it, too. We did not watch SpongeBob ever as kids or adults.
That doesn't mean we, like, don't like it or, like, have anything against it. We just don't get the SpongeBob memes and stuff.
A lot of my experience in college was just, like, other people explaining SpongeBob references to me. And them being like, are you Amish? It scared me how much my brother could see right through me. We looked alike and had the same hair color, but my features were more feminine. Well, that makes sense. You're his sister. The only thing that was a major difference between us were our eyes. Mine were a plain brown, while his were an electric blue. Wow, it's like us.
I didn't understand how he could just tell by looking in my eyes what I was feeling.
Justin's like...
It wasn't fair. The boy in front of me mostly had no emotions. I sometimes wondered what went through his mind.
Was he a sociopath?
Yeah, maybe he lacks empathy. Stop zoning out, he interrupted me. That always pulls a person out of reality. Yeah, that's what zoning out means. Are you sure you're only a freshman, Patrick? I asked, concerned. Justin rolled his eyes. I'm glad you noticed my wiseness, Sandy. Okay, Solomon. Is that a SpongeBob reference?
These, I think, are SpongeBob references.
I knew that the first two were. Okay, be wise and get me a ginger ale from the fridge, would you? Justin grunted and walked back into the kitchen. No matter how much of a smart aleck he was and how annoying he could be, he was still loyal. Like a dog. Where's Andrew? He asked, tossing me my drink. Okay, you can't toss a ginger ale. It's gonna explode when you open it.
Maybe it was on purpose. Because he's her little annoying brother.
Yeah. He sat down beside me and I wrinkled my nose at his foul stench. He's upstairs with Jasmine, apologizing. You put those two in a room together? I nodded. They'll pounce on each other. Well, maybe not each other, but on a few things. What?
They'll just pounce on inanimate objects.
This is what's great about this book. There are just, like, things that she says where it's... You just have no idea what the intention was. Justin stated. I nodded again, then realized what would happen and ran upstairs, leaving a laughing Justin on the couch. See, like, I really don't understand what she's expecting to happen. I ran, hoping I could stop them from ruining my cameras or books. So they're like,
literally just, like,
bouncing on her.
They're, like, onto just objects.
Just her possessions. I couldn't risk seeing Jane Eyre ripped into pieces.
Classic protagonist of a YA novel whose favorite book is Jane Eyre.
It's always like these authors are, well, the authors obviously are fans of books and reading and writing, but it's also like they've only really read up to a high school level, so it'll be like an after when the whole thing is like Pride and Prejudice, or when I read My Life with the Walter Boys, there's like a Romeo and Juliet tie-in.
I'm not gonna lie, I read Jane Eyre when I was 12.
Good for you.
But, like, I think I was interested in it because of, like, Twilight or something like that.
Okay, I couldn't risk seeing Jane Eyre ripped into pieces. Opening my door, I found Jasmine and Andrew sitting beside each other on my bed, their faces really close to each other. What the fudge nuggets? That's... I forgot, a trait of this character is that she, like, doesn't like swearing, which is funny, because when I was in middle school, I remember for a while I made it, like, part of my personality that, like, I don't swear, I'm a good girl, but then I just stopped doing that, so I assume it's because a 14-year-old wrote this. Anyways, what the fudge nuggets? They jumped apart as I entered, Andrew's face going red, and Jasmine just looking anywhere but me. She's like, "Everything all right here?" I asked them. "Yeah, we're fine." He took a look at his watch. "I should get going." Without another word, Andrew left, leaving me confused as I heard a door shut downstairs. I turned to Jasmine. "Anything you want to explain?" Jasmine shook her head at me. Her thick black hair was in a ponytail, bobbling with her. "Nope." She gave me a small smile as we lay side by side on my bed. They're laying side by side on her bed now. "Andrew, huh?" I nudged her jokingly. It was probably nothing anyway. Jasmine grabbed a pillow and put it over her face. "Nothing happened." Something would've. If her skin tone was different, Jasmine would be bright red as a tomato. Girl, you can't say that. If you're...
Also, I feel like non-white people can blush.
Yeah, Just then, her phone beeped. Beep. She clicked it open and read the text aloud. "Amy says Sam Cahill is returning to school tomorrow." My best friend groaned. Why couldn't she have an obsession with Pokemon instead of boys and gossip? I hate those other girls. I knit my eyebrows in confusion. Who's Sam Cahill? The name was familiar, but I couldn't place it. Jasmine blinked at me, then her eyes widened. "You're kidding me, right?" I shook my head. Why? Should I know this guy? Jasmine looked at the ceiling. This is coming from the girl who's practically one of the guys at school and is the captain of the boys' soccer team. I smirked at her as she rolled her eyes, but she gave me a smile back. Being captain was hard work, not to mention also being a girl in her senior year. "What's your point?" "That if he was on the team, he would take your place. Coach has wanted him to join, but he always declines for some unnecessary reason." I snapped my fingers. "Oh, Sam Cahill." Oh, no, she means, oh, Sam Cahill. A memory came to my brain of Coach talking about some guy who could be the next David Beckham. I'd never actually seen him in our school of 1,000 students. Wow, big school. But he seemed to be very popular. "But he's bad news, too," Jasmine told me.
They always are.
Bad boy
they
and the tomboy. We need a bad boy for our tomboy. Not the best kind of person due to his anger issues. He could put the show Anger Management to shame.
Anger Management with Charlie Sheen?
Is that what I don't even know what that show is about.
I'm pretty sure it's like the vehicle for Charlie Sheen that came out like after his public breakdown.
Ooh. Okay, so we know that this book must have been written after Charlie Sheen's public breakdown.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is another Wattpad thing. It's like the bad boy, he can't just be like a cool bad boy with a heart of gold. He has to be like a bad boy who has legit
who's
anger
like actually
issues,
abusive.
who actually like can't control his anger. It's a great thing to preach to young girls. It was that serious? Has he ever heard of therapy? That's my question. Jasmine shrugged. "I'm not Amy. Ask her. I could care... Ask
Amy.
I could care less about the outside world when I have you and Drew." Okay, now they are calling him Drew. Drew looks at me. "Aw, are you guys having a girl moment?" Justin asked, leaning in my doorway while putting on a shirt. He entered my room and sat on the edge of my bed. He smelled like Old Spice, but how had he taken a shower that quick? He didn't have to take a shower to put on Old Spice.
To smell like Old Spice.
No, we're talking about Sam Cahill. Justin furrowed his eyebrows. Why would you be talking about boys, Mace? You even said yourself that dating comes after university because it would affect your grades otherwise. I actually follow that rule, and now you aren't gross. No, I'm still sticking by that rule. I told him. We were just talking about who he is. Well, he seems cool, Justin nodded. What do you mean? I asked. I saw him earlier, he continued. The guy was rolling around the neighborhood, popping wheelies on his motorcycle. Okay, am I just stupid about motorcycles, or can you, like, not? Can you just pop a wheelie on a motor? Like, unless you're, like, a motocross person?
All you motorcyclists out there, let us know
in the comments down below.
No, I think you can.
Okay. Alright. He has a sick Harley. Typical boy. Am I the only one who hasn't seen this?
Is that typical?
Not in my experience. Am I the only one who hasn't seen this guy? I exclaimed. Yes, Jasmine stated. She's kind of suffering from that thing of, like, when young authors think that the word said is bad and that they have to use, like, creative dialogue tags. So they're like, she exclaimed, she stated, he mumbled, whatever. It doesn't sound good. You haven't seen his beautiful green eyes, or Justin groaned. No, you are not having this conversation about my own species while I'm in the room. Then get out! I throw a pillow at him. He caught it in one hand. Oh, really? This is very Justin. I think Brandon Flynn is going to be excellent in this role. My brother leaped on me, smacking me with the pillow. I grabbed the one close to Jasmine and started hitting him with the pillow too. Jasmine laughed as he shoved it in my mouth. How do you shove a pillow in a person's mouth?
I don't know, but it's getting a little weird.
Yeah. Okay, I'll be heading out. I'll see you tomorrow, Mace. Bye. You still have to... My voice got caught in my throat when I was hit by a pillow in the side of the face. I thought it was going to be like my voice got caught as a pillow got shoved down my
is
throat.
she still gagged with a pillow?
You're going to get it, I said to my brother before jumping on his back. Do you have a limit to your stupidness? I asked him after we stopped fighting, spitting feathers out of my mouth. Wow, these are like nice down pillows too.
Yeah.
They use them
if
for that.
I was Macy's dad, I'd be like,
no camera.
That was very irresponsible.
Yeah, right. After Movember ends.
Which is the thing where boys don't shave.
Oh, okay.
Boys don't shave. Except Justin. Well, he's 14, so he might
have facial hair.
Yeah.
It seems like they're making him sound like the hot brother.
Wait, what were we even talking about? Why did she talk about Movember?
Well, okay, so she says, do you have a limit to your stupidness? I asked him after we stopped fighting, spitting feathers out of my mouth. Yeah, right after Movember ends. How is that a response to that question? It's February. Are you actually going to grow a mustache for 10 months? Wait, so it's not even Movember, he's just growing a mustache for 10 months?
It's out in Movember somewhere.
True. No, I'm trying for a beard. Justin rubbed his hands across his cheeks and made a duck face. Like what I have so far? Just wait until then. I rolled my eyes. That'll be disgusting on you. When does Dad get... I just, sprayed snot out of my nose.
Good.
Oops. When does Dad get home? Justin asked, getting up. Around 5. Why? Just wondering. We never get to see him these days, Justin pointed out. Aw. My dad was a lawyer for some actors and businessmen that I didn't really care about, since none of them were Josh Hutcherson. Sure, our dad wasn't around a lot, but Justin and I had each other most of the time. We haven't been going out a lot together either, Justin pointed out.
Like to Japan or New York.
Like to Japan or New York. That was true. Want to go to the park? I asked him. Justin smiled, grabbed a soccer ball, and we headed out. Our street was one of those circular ones with the houses all the way around and only one way out, like a cul-de-sac. Isn't that
it's
what
just
that
called
is?
a cul-de-sac. It's not like
a thing.
Our street was like one of those circular ones.
Well, it's like, since I am guessing this author is an American, like she keeps saying university instead of college, and she said are you mental or something. So maybe it's like she's
just picturing an American
She's picturing
suburb.
it, but she doesn't know it's called a cul-de-sac. It's possible. Andrew lived 5 houses down, while Jasmine lived a few blocks over. Justin took my camera. What did you film today? I shrugged. Hot dog eating contest. I turned on my camera and showed him the footage. After a few minutes of watching, he started to laugh and handed it back to me.
After a few minutes, he's watching it like...
And then after a few minutes, he's like... How the hell did the quarterback lose to the captain of the softball team? I laughed with him. I honestly have no idea. I think Barbie can take him down. Justin rolled his eyes. I bet Charmander can take him down. What does this have to do with anything? My brother gave me a weird look. I can't believe you haven't outgrown your Pokemon phase from 3rd grade. Okay, obviously it's not her phase from 3rd grade if she still is in it. I'm more mature than you. I rolled my eyes. I'm 17 and going to university soon. Let me be a kid for a while. Justin gave me a small smile. You'll be leaving soon. ... He trailed off. I actually thought my brother would really miss me. When you leave, can I have your room and make it a man cave? I gaped at my brother, then pushed him, but he only stumbled a bit. Are you serious? What would you even put in that room? Justin started ticking off his fingers. Like, pulling them off. My Xbox, a flat screen TV, a foosball table, a table tennis table. You realize you wouldn't ever leave that room, right? Justin grinned. Yep. Arriving at our destination, I knocked the ball out of his hands and ran with it. Hey! Hey.
Hey, it's Hannah.
I laughed as my brother chased me. There was no way he could catch up with me. I raised my camera and took a picture of him running, then ran faster. The ball moved with me, and fluently, too. I swiftly did a rainbow. I assume that's a soccer thing. And other tricks as my brother tried to get it from me. This isn't fair. I can only play basketball, he yelled. Yes, his life revolved around basketball. My brother was only 14, yet he was almost 6 feet, but I could still kick his butt on the court. I laughed loudly. I could still beat you in that sport, doofus. Justin rolled his eyes and tried to push me, but I dodged him and ran away with the ball at my feet. I looked back and noticed he was on the ground, spitting dirt out of his mouth. How did that happen? I laughed automatically. How do you laugh automatically? And didn't have time to register that I had tripped over the ball and fallen into someone's arms. End of chapter 1.
That's how you do it.
That is how you do it.
You just fall into their arms.
This chapter, first of all, notice that it's quite long, and it doesn't really introduce, like, a plot or, like, a theme or anything. It's kind of just like, here are our characters, and here's a hot boy who's gonna be part of the story.
We don't even know if he's hot. We don't even know who he is.
We don't know who
I guess there's a hot boy that's back in the neighborhood.
Yeah, which is a great setup to a Wattpad story. But, yeah, notice that we don't have, like, a concept. Okay, now we have a little page break to an author's note. Vote, because I hate saying comment. Sounds like vomit, doesn't it? No?
Yeah, totally, girl.
And don't forget to share, too. Nikki. Snowflake emoji. Cast for the bad boy and the tomboy. Oh my god, here it is. Macy Anderson, that's the main character, who I just realized I don't think they said her name at all during the chapter. I think Jasmine might have called her Mace at one point, but that is just a nickname. Anyways, Macy Anderson, Emma Watson. Oh, okay, for Sam, it says, as of 2015, December, changed from Tom Welling to Stephen Kelly. I don't know who either of those people are. Oh, what? He's 43! Even in 2014, he would have been way too old.
Oh, it says he was in Smallville. So probably
was
when
he Superman?
was
Yeah, he was Clark Kent.
younger.
Stephen Kelly. This isn't really what I expected Sam to look like. I kind of thought he would be, blonde, but I guess Andrew's already the blonde boy.
He's an attractive man.
Ivan Cahill, who we haven't even met yet. Ian Somerhalder. People are so into Ian Somerhalder, and, I don't want to be mean, but I have never understood it. Yeah, it's his weird eyes. I don't like them. He looks like a
vampire.
I was gonna say an evil elf or something. Jasmine Johnson. Her name is Jasmine Johnson. Amanda Stenberg. The only, young black actress any of these people know is Amanda Stenberg. Okay, Andrew. Alexander Ludwig. Oh, he was in the Hunger Games. He's this guy.
So, her crush is Josh Hutcherson. And Andrew is described as a blonde guy, but she
didn't
picked
cast him
a
as
different
Josh.
Hunger Games actor.
Well, I'm very confused as to why she wouldn't have made Sam Josh Hutcherson when she clearly loves Josh Hutcherson so much. Oh my god, Caleb Henderson is Jake T. Austin from Wizards of Waverly Place. Christian Cahill, I don't even remember, Brendan Thwaites? I didn't realize there were this many Cahills.
Brenton Thwaites. Sounds
Brenton
like...
Thwaites.
I've been Brenton Thwaites, yeah.
I was at the gym, Brenton Thwaites. Natalie Anderson. I think Natalie might be the mean girl. I don't really care. Oh my god! So there is a character in this story. We haven't gotten there yet. There is a character in this story named Drake, described as somebody who looks like Drake, and it says in the fan cast that he would be played by Drake / Aubrey Graham. I now know that his name is Aubrey Graham because I have been binge watching Degrassi: The Next Generation. Anyways, so we have a character named Drake who is Drake.
But you might not want to cast Drake in
Why
a
not?
movie full of teenage girls.
Oh my god. Oh my god, it says Toby Cahill is played by Zac Efron. And then there are like a bunch of roles that just haven't been filled. They're just blank. Oh my god, it says a character named Natasha is played by Lily Collins.
It says the rest I'll figure out later.
Girl, it's later. Later has come and gone. Bad Boy and the Tomboy, all rights reserved. Oh my god, started Saturday, July 12th, 2014. So now we know. Yeah, I thought that we would do maybe a couple chapters, but it turns out these are quite long chapters. We've already been going a long time. So I say we put a pin in it now and see if it turns out well. See if we want to continue this, make this a series with the entire novel.
If you think we should make it a series, comment down below. Wait, I'll do your outro thing.
Okay.
Okay, I think now I'm gonna go rip up my copy of Jane Eyre.